What would be the mechanics of exploring sun gazing in a safe way?
There is a documented way to do it, which I followed back in 2012 and totally transformed my life. And it's pretty simple. You just sun gaze for 10 seconds on the first day and you increase 10 seconds every day. This is at sunrise. Your charge is so high that you're not subjected to depressive mental health. You're not subjected to disease in the body. We're in a transition period. We're going into a period of genetic liberation and the golden age. So it's happening in politics, it's happening in the financial world, but it's also happening in our biological experience and in our mind and everything that we're tuning into. We're literally becoming a brand new human species.
Bradley McDonald, David Reed. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah,
Thanks
we
for
are
having
here.
us.
All the way from Australia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're in Australia. I would love to talk about indigenous cultures of Australia. I'd love to talk about voltage in the body. And I would love to talk about sun gazing. Is sun gazing bullshit or is there something to it?
Most powerful thing I've ever done. There's a
All
lot.
right.
There's a lot. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to
No
it.
BS in that.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, I believe we come from the light, we return to the light. So the sun is the source of all life, especially in this solar system. And so it has all of the codes for life. So light has all of the codes for every part of manifestation, every part of the physical form, and every part of the material world. And our eyes are the window to the soul, but they're also like the entry to the universe of our being. So when we're getting those light codes in and all of the different, so you do it early in the morning or late at night when there's no UV. And when you're getting all of those light codes in, it goes through the eyes into the brain and through the rest of our cellular biology and has profound impact on our journey because it aligns us with our, you can call it our higher self or with our divine purpose or with our blueprint. But all of that said, it puts us on our path. And, that light never leaves. It's the charge that builds up in our body and turns us into, it activates our biophotonic superconductive nature.
What would be the mechanics of exploring sun gazing in a safe way?
Yeah, so there is a documented way to do it, which I followed back in 2012 and totally transformed my life. And it's pretty simple. You just sun gaze for 10 seconds on the first day and you increase 10 seconds every day, which
This is at sunrise.
This is at sunrise. We're fortunate. We live in Australia. Where I am, we get about 300 sunny days a year.
Yeah.
So if you can sun gaze for 10 seconds a day and increase it by 10 seconds every day, after 9 months, you get to 45 minutes and you need to eat less. Your charge is so high that you're not subjected to depressive mental health. You're not subjected to disease in the body. So that's why, and you're aligned with your purpose and your mission because we've all got one. So that's where sun gazing is the most beautiful thing you can do. And for me, after probably when I got to like 20, 25 minutes, I started communing with the sun, which sounds a little bit esoteric. But the main thing I got from that is the sun clearly showed me that there is no separation between me and the sun or anything else anywhere, which the benefit of that is freedom because you understand the connection between all things. You understand the eternal nature of life. So there's no fear of death. There's no fear of anything at that point.
Have you explored any research or data or science going for or against the concept of gazing at the sun?
I have a little bit. I've had my own experience from it, from doing that in 2012. Obviously, the risks of sun gazing in the middle of the day could be damage to the retina.
Seems like a bad idea.
That's bypassed early in the morning.
Yeah, right.
And your body tells
It
you
knows.
as well.
Probably super
It
smart.
knows, yeah.
Yeah, we've divorced ourselves from the intelligence of our bodies. We don't trust it. We're waiting for mommy or daddy, in the form of like the FDA or the government or just anyone else to tell us what to do within our bodies.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, your body's like, bro, I'm talking to you all the time, man.
Yeah. Also called science, like
Yeah.
that dogmatic view of like, you don't do this then or do it now. Yeah. It's a totally different version.
Yeah.
But that UV is so low in that first part of that day where it's getting all those, that good ultraviolet light into those eyes. And I think Huberman actually talks about the same thing as well, like in the evening. And it's a different, from a science perspective versus a relationship perspective. So the light energy in the morning is completely different to light energy at night. So you could say one's more of a feminine and masculine. I feel like the morning light's more feminine and then the evening light's more masculine.
They call it morning wood.
Yeah. Potentially, yeah. Well, all those words. This is the interesting thing. This is what I laugh about. There's so much in the words, right? Like if you just listen, it's like
It's actually my Native American name.
you serious?
And I go to music festivals. I go by Morningwood.
It's so
No,
good.
I don't actually. I don't do that.
But this is the
My brother changed his name to Mountain for a while. My brother's like a hippie who went to like rainbow gatherings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so for a long time, we went through like an identity something. I wouldn't call it a crisis, just identity shift or whatever. But he was like Mountain.
Yeah.
So my
right.
joke was like, if you're Mountain, I'm Morningwood.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry.
Well, there's an interesting thing
I
where
love that.
people.
It's fun. It's fun.
So now he's back to
It-
Austin.
It's massive play.
Nice.
Yeah, it's full circle. That's what happens when people change their names a lot, I think.
But walking in the morning, like that's where a lot of people were walking in the morning, like intuitively. Back to your point about the intelligence of the body, like there's something about going for a walk in the morning and the walk in the evening, right?
Yeah.
There's some sort of like circadian rhythm that you've got to get into that the body knows that, it's a good time to go. And I think once we start ignoring the pieces of the puzzle, like you point, like, I've got to work, or I've got to do something else, or mainstream's got me doing this. Like if we just listen a lot more to that intelligence, be it sun gazing, be it breath work, and I think with those things, like that's when that voltage or that charge comes back to the body where it's in that either in homeostasis or in that healing spot. We spend so much time out of that where it's not in that healing or that regenerative space. Like it's huge.
Where could a person find resources outside of this podcast with you where they can validate what you're saying in a way of like, is there a published book or some research or something? Because if, tens of thousands of people are listening to this as a concept that can spiral out in a lot of different things, like what is some founded in some version of like, this is safe, science backed, or maybe some version of science backed, practical guide on being able to do this?
Yeah, it's a good question. Because I did it back in 2012, so 13 years ago now, there was an Indian gentleman called HRM, and he had a bunch of YouTubes where he was presenting on an hour, like for an hour on sun gazing, and he was going through what would happen at 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. So he had it all mapped out. And he'd been documented and studied where he had not eaten for like 100 days at a time, no problem. So I haven't looked into too much of the modern science on sun gazing because I had my experience then and I know what it did for me. And, everything's made from three things, which is light, water, and minerals. That's it. So light is like the source of everything. Without light, there's only darkness. We can't see. We don't have like any expression of anything. So, getting those codes through our eyes and getting that energy that then can enter and go through our brain and go through our biology. For me, it's just intuitive. It makes so much sense. I mean, the ancient cultures all used to do it, whether it was the Egyptians, whether it was the Mayans, they were all obsessed with sun gods. They built temples for the sun. They understood that relationship with the sun to become like almost like a superhuman, supercharged being because, when I say we're made from light, minerals and water, the minerals and water is obvious, but minerals and water makes us crystalline in nature. So the light is then charging that crystal. And once we're a charged crystal, then we're oscillating differently with the field and our experience of life is so much better because we're in the flow. and we're on purpose.
I would love to walk away from this with some level of like heuristic guide on how to explore, because I would like to explore this. I've dabbled with it in the past, but it's usually for no more than 30 seconds or something in the morning. So 10 seconds to start.
Yes.
Is this before the sun is cresting? As the sun is cresting, like as it's cresting the horizon?
No, once it's up.
Yeah.
Yep. You can watch it come up, but once it's up, do 10 seconds. Everyone can do 10 seconds once it first comes up.
Are you just following feel, where it's kind of like, ooh, this is starting to feel uncomfortable. It's probably my body saying, don't do this anymore.
Sure.
Would you ever push through that? My guess is, as a general like statement, just don't do that for people listening. But also, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Again, I wouldn't say to push through that if it's a clear no. However, if you get it when it's just come over the horizon, it won't be a clear no.
Yeah, right, exactly.
When
I've experienced it's very nice.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's almost like a massage for your nervous system in a way.
It's beautiful. It's a massage for your nervous system, and it's a massage for your whole system, the entire system. Like there's a peace that starts to come in. We used to joke and we used to say, like, good luck going and sun gazing for 10 minutes and having a bad day.
Interesting.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we would do it fasting and say you were not going to have your first meal until 12, and you would feel so supercharged for the first half of the day. And as soon as you ate, you could
bog down.
You could feel the charge dropping. You could feel like that light. It had an impact on your experience. But yeah, if you build it by 10 seconds a day, that's giving the body time to adjust, and you'll easily get to 10, 15 minutes. But again, you want to be in a space that's high and ultimately looking over the ocean or over a lake or something where you're getting it really early. Like if you're waiting for it to get up over a building, it's probably already been up for an hour.
Yeah.
And that's when it's too intense, and your body will say no straight away.
Yeah. What do you think? So you believe there's merit to breatharian, which is, I think, like your like food is like a secondary fuel source, and your primary fuel source is like sunlight and probably minerals. Oh, sorry, sunlight, sun, minerals, and water. My guess. I've never met a breatharian. I've heard some rumors about this.
Yeah, so we know breatharians that live
where.
Two that I know really well are in Oregon, in Ashland. And, I went and stayed with my friend and his wife for 6 weeks about 2.5 years ago. And when I turned up, he hadn't had anything for 30 days. I made some food and he had a couple of spoonfuls, but then just dropped straight into like another 30 days of fasting. And he's super healthy, super vibrant. He's like 50, he looks 30. He's slight. He's probably only 60 kilos, which is about 130 pounds. But the vitality and the glow coming out of his being is profound.
Lifespan of a tortoise.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they live a while.
Exactly.
Yeah, he probably doesn't breathe very quickly either.
Exactly.
Is my guess.
Yeah.
What's he like? What's it like to be around him?
He's the most enlightened being I've ever met.
What's it like being around him being like that?
I guess a lot of your fears and doubts and negative-based thoughts and questions just go away, and you feel like a harmony and a bliss. Yeah.
I think it's like Ram Dass or somebody like that. I said something along, maybe it was Alan Watts, but something along the lines of, you don't necessarily, this is very much paraphrasing, but you don't necessarily need a therapist. Sometimes you just need to be around a therapeutic person.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the process of, if you're around someone that's tapping into something that's maybe somewhat like Christ-like consciousness or Christ consciousness or enlightenment, which my general perspective on the concept of enlightenment is it's more like a verb. It's like a fleeting, fluctuating, oscillating thing. And probably most people listening to this might have experienced little micro moments of like enlightenment where it's just they're tapped into empathy and joy and connection and love, and they've released fears and any concepts of greed or doubt or anything. It's like, oh yeah, like that was that time that you were dancing at that wedding thing, and you're just having a great time. Maybe you even had a couple drinks and you just had so much love in your heart. That was it. Like you were in that little spot, that sweet spot right there.
Well,
and then you came out, and because you were drinking a little bit, you kind of had, now you went under baseline, and now you're kind of a little bit of a wreck. But I think we can kind of like dip our beaks in it.
Yeah.
Mm.
We've tapped into some beautiful, blissful
Yeah.
spaces like that.
I'm just thinking of those experiences, just going, oh, just take me back there. Like, they're so fleeting.
I'll give you an example of staying with this gentleman for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So 4 weeks in, and we were sun gazing morning and night on his sanctuary, because he had a sanctuary at the top of one of those mountains in Ashland where you could sun gaze in the morning and sun gaze in the afternoon. And we were doing it for like an hour each time. And I was a month in, and I was in such a harmonious, peaceful space with life.
A month in with no food?
No, I was eating a little bit.
Okay.
I was fasting a lot. It was just a vegetarian diet, but we're getting heaps of sun gazing in.
Yep.
And I called Brad and I basically just said, oh man, I'm not doing any business stuff anymore. I said, I'm
Just renounced everything, right?
yeah, just renounced everything. And we've renounced everything several times before that.
Yeah.
But the harmony and the peace that like to then go into sales and marketing and like CEO, CFO roles.
Brad
Made
seems
no
like he's like
sense.
your anchor in the world. He's kind of like, boop, you're here, and you kind of are like the floating out kind of explorer type thing, and seems like you pair off of each other very well. I'm probably projecting.
Yeah, I mean, we've been
Yeah.
brothers and mates for 30 years.
Yeah.
So we've been through it all together, but we both go in and out of those spaces at different times.
Yeah.
In 30 years, you experience everything together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of times where I think you can sort of play those different roles, like one person's grounding and the other person's going out there. Like some of those
Yeah.
journeys, like we were talking about it this morning, like 99.9% of people couldn't have the experiences that we did because they wouldn't give up everything to do it, like renounce everything to do those experiences, like to get to that, what David was talking about, like to do 6 weeks of basically, you know, looking at the sun night and day, you know, fasting, like try doing that for like a day, like in this sort of construct of modern life. It's almost impossible with you're stimulated by marketing, but when you go into those renouncing spaces, it's a totally different experience. And I just keep coming back to your environment's everything. So you have those experiences, but they're not permanent. It's like what you're saying before, like you dip into them,
Yeah.
but you can actually like pull out of them and have that experience. Wow. It's like, I was talking to a friend last night at one of these after parties, and it was like, sometimes I think that sales and marketing and the density of operating a business where we were just like sometimes just sitting around a fire in the middle of the country, just doing nothing and just going, that's complete freedom.
Yeah.
So it's like trying to find the balance between those extremes. Like there's extremes in both parts, and the beautiful thing is you get to experience both of those now. It's like so profound.
I want to talk about voltage and minerals and some of the other things outside of light, but I still want to hang with the enlightened stuff a little bit. Can you share a little bit more of what you learned from the breatharian people that you've been around? Like the feeling, like what kind of wisdom could you, because there's some things you can get in books and you can like read stories about, but there's some things that you actually have to be in the place or be around the person. Is there what kind of types of things have you gathered from people like that?
Yeah, probably the main thing is the frequency that they operate on is very different to the rest of humanity. And what I mean by that is they're so clear and they're so aligned with the light or purity that they don't experience fear.
They probably don't talk a lot about purity either.
No, they have the answers to things that we're wondering what those answers are as well. So like they understand the body in a way that is super unique, and you won't get that information anywhere. So like a lot of the sacred text, they can decode that. They can decode the Bible. They can decode like the secret teachings of all ages. From that, they can produce substances like alchemical gold or ormus. So they can produce all these high frequency alchemical elixirs that again is able to hold their body, because the body's an antenna. It's a crystalline matrix antenna, right? So if you lift your charge high enough, they don't get sick, and they're receiving information that we don't have access to. That we're wondering all these answers and questions to different things, and they know those answers.
How does a normal person, I'm a normal person, I think I also have access to a lot of things, but I generally operate in like the I'm like here. I think there's, as you're talking, it sounds like there's like two energy sources we can tap into. One is the energy of the world. It's protein bars and, supplements and business and a house and air conditioning and relationships and, all the different things, or like dating rather. And then it seems like there's like another energy source that's a little bit more subterranean, or maybe it's in the skyware, but it's like another energy source that's within you all the time. But for the most part, it seems like we don't access it that much. And I think this is kind of the energy source that you're talking about.
Totally, yeah.
How does a person start to seamlessly weave their day-to-day life where they have a job and they eat food? Maybe they don't sun gaze yet. How do they start to dip their toes into some of that like secondary energy source?
Yeah, well, I would say there's 8 billion people on the planet, and everyone is an antenna that has their own life experience. So there's no two people having the same experience here. Even though we think a lot of people are having a similar experience, we're all having totally different experience. It depends on like the frequency of the body, what information we're receiving. So the thoughts that we're having, our biological health, our longevity. And so if we're just doing basic supporting things to raise the charge of the body, and those things would be sun gazing, or it doesn't even have to be sun gazing, but getting sunlight, which is all your infrared light, meditating, fasting, getting into the ocean, drinking structured water, and then getting all of your minerals and your high frequency nutrients and your light. So the gold that we have, that's just bringing light into the body. The minerals that we have is giving all of those building blocks. So like modulating and priming the intelligence of the body to be more efficient. Because when we're outside of drama and suffering and like repetitive thinking, we can put that attention on things that are positive, on the light, and then our human experience totally transforms.
What is fear and doubt and shame and guilt and greed? And I think those are sins, right? Like, what is a sin? And what is that? What do sins do to the body, to the physiology?
Yeah, I just see them as inefficiencies which hold us in causal conditioning.
And not sin like, oh, you're doing a naughty, like you did a poopy doopy, like this is bad. No, it's not like a moralistic bad good.
Yeah.
But it seems like a person, if they're holding on to some kind of contractive aspect of themselves, and they're not able to, or they don't have access to that, like the light within themselves.
Yes.
It seems like perhaps they are kind of weighted by, and I'm just using language, but like sins of sorts.
100%.
Like your right as a being is to be in love.
Yeah.
And if you are not living at like a conduit to that compassion and love, and I'm in process with this for sure. I'm not speaking in any kind of like authoritarian, love authority type lens. But if you're not in that state, and if you have judgment on yourself of, oh my God, I'm not in that state, it's only going to make things worse. So it's like having compassion, acceptance for whatever the heck state one is in. And if you are not experiencing that, there's probably some indication of like there's baggage that is being held.
100%.
Yeah, I feel like the physiology responds to thoughts. So it's almost like what the body reacts to the thought. So whatever those lower vibration thoughts are, can manifest in the body, reduces voltage or charge within the body. So it almost goes back to like taking stock in your environment. Like what's your environment? Do you have access to silence? I think that's the starting point for me. And it was a starting point for me on my journey. It was like, how can I get still? Like in all the books, Ram Dass talks about it. They all talk about like sometimes going out into nature and just being like tuning into that frequency can give you like peace. And it's just the simple things like that. Like that's where I always start, is like getting into nature and just tuning in. And that's usually with silence, like meditating or prayer or whatever that is. I think there's so much noise like in our own thoughts and externally like with our environment that you just got to get still. I think that's the first place you start. there's so many things trying to take our attention. And I think that's like moving forward in future is like we've got to be so sacred and so ritualized with our silence and being still. I think that's where it starts.
Yeah.
Like I think both of us have done a Vipassana. Have you done a Vipassana retreat?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's even that whole experience after, like you realize after 3 days you have a certain experience, and then, 5 days, and then that 9-day experience where you're eating well, someone's looking after your food, all you're doing is meditating most of the day and sleeping. Like that's quite a profound way to do it. But the whole thing is just to get still. And really that's the start of what you need, because you want to work towards freedom, because there's so many other things taking your freedom away.
Mm-hmm. I feel like a sensation that I get is a sensation of like, oftentimes I feel mildly overwhelmed. And I have a sensation of like, I just want everything to pause, like I want everything to stop for like 10 days. It's the duration of Vipassana, but and it's a feeling of like, okay, I don't have the bandwidth in order to seek enlightenment, or anything of the sort, but there's like this weight or story or idea that I need to like keep on pushing the rock. And there's like a low key, which is just a part of my story and my baggage and perhaps my own like sin away from my own, being with ease and grace and light and love and all the things. But it's like an ongoing gnawing sensation of like low key overwhelm, and you need to keep on working and you need to keep on pushing or you won't be safe.
Yeah. It's because we're in a transition period. So for the first time on the earth, like there's an invitation to everybody for like the golden age, right? We're going into the golden age. We're going into a period of genetic liberation. And the golden age, like even politicians are talking about it at the moment, right? So it's happening in politics, it's happening in the financial world, but it's also happening in our biological experience and in our mind and everything that we're tuning into. So that overwhelm is natural. And then we build the capacity to go to the next stage and the next stage. So it's like a caterpillar going through metamorphosis and becoming a butterfly. And that's really what we mean by genetic liberation. Like we're literally becoming a brand new human species.
It's very uncomfortable. Birth is like, this is all stuff other people have said, some regurgitating, but like with birth, there's a lot of blood. Chrysalis is a little weird looking.
Yeah.
It's probably like cramped in there.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable and then it's not, and then it's uncomfortable and then it's not. But there's like a natural codex in our DNA that when it's receiving these light frequencies and the minerals and the shilajits, that it's upgrading it and it's pushing us into those higher frequencies.
What the heck is Shilajit? So you guys found a company called Mana. I'm a big fan. I think I like everything about the stuff that you guys do, but particularly the Shilajit's the thing that I notice a tangible difference. This is not a bullshit. I'm not like trying to sell something. I notice a tangible difference when I take Shilajit. What is happening within that? Like I feel it just feels, it's not like coffee or, an orgasm or something. It's just, I feel like a little bit more calm, at ease, like mental clarity. It's just nice. It's like, I actually know. There's a lot of things. If I take like omega-3 supplements and stuff like that, like they're supposed to be good for you, but I don't know absolutely anything. So what are the value of minerals in the body? And Shilajit's kind of like a mysterious, esoteric thing. It's like this tar stuff on a rock or something. I don't even know exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's a mysterious, esoteric thing because of the source where it comes from, the high mountain tops.
Yeah.
But if you get it into a laboratory, it's not. So it contains all of the minerals that we need. It contains fatty acids that we need. It contains vitamins that we need. So those 90 nutrients that Brad spoke about before we started the podcast, it has all of those for a start. And then it has nature's miracle molecule, which is fulvic acid. And the power of fulvic acid is it activates those minerals and breaks them down into a smaller particle size where they can actually pass cell membranes. So that charge that we talk about with the cell, it's able to take nutrients through the cell because it can pass it through that cell membrane and actually, just as importantly, remove toxins from the cell. So Shilajit is so powerful from like the nutrient density of it, but then because it has fulvic acid in it, which is like nature's nanotechnology, it's able to do things that no other substance can. And I often make the comment like, it tastes terrible because it's like getting a swimming pool of fertilizer and like nutrients from the mineral kingdom and condensing that down into like a teaspoon of nutrients. And all of that's gone from, it's just so concentrated. Like there's nothing else on the planet that I know of per gram that would have more in it than Shilajit. Yeah.
Where do you find it? Or where do people find it? Where does it come from?
Yeah,
rocks,
the
right?
main countries are like Russia, Mongolia, the Himalayas, Kashmir. It's also in Tibet. We get ours from Tibet, Himalayas, and Siberia.
Wow. I wonder what this is out there, but I say out there, things in here, but I wonder what the energetic imprint of something from a place like Tibet is. I'd imagine there's effect, I would think.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and probably the most sacred mountain in the world, Mount Kailash in Tibet, that's where we get some of our Shilajit from.
Where else?
Himalayas.
You said some of. Where's the rest of it come from?
Yeah, so the Himalayas. So there's Tibet,
okay.
there's Mount Kailash.
Yeah.
That's, I guess you could call that part of the Himalayas, but when I say the Himalayas, I'm talking Nepal and then Siberia.
How'd you guys discover that? You like go out there? You go on some spirit quests or you're like breatharianing yourself and gnawing some Shilajit off a rock in Tibet?
Pretty much.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so we were traveling and exploring for a decade through Egypt, the Middle East, the Himalayas before we even started a product company. We didn't intend to start a product company.
Yeah.
For more, it was more renouncing everything, going on what you'd call a spiritual quest or whatever, and going to these places and spending extended periods.
What's the Lord of the Rings guy? Gollum? What's the guy? The Precious? What's his name? Little crawler guy? What's his name?
I'm not sure.
Come on, Lord of the Rings.
I know the movie.
I know the movie.
Gollum.
Gollum. Yeah.
I feel like he would like Shilajit.
It's
He's
probably
crawling
what he
on
was
rocks,
hunting
licking
for.
rocks.
It's probably what he was hunting for, right?
Is it Gollum? God dang
I
it.
think so.
How do you
I
guys
think
not know? I assume I'm not going to know things, but you guys.
I don't watch a lot. I don't watch
no
a lot of
media.
movies, so I know of the movie. But
I think it is Gollum. Yeah, and we're gonna have to fact check that. We're gonna have to fact check this podcast.
I think he probably likes Shilajit. Anyway,
so Shilajit gives you energy, hormone balance, cognitive function, and it's also supporting the body's intelligence, which is a big one that we talk about a lot, and it's charging up that cell again. So it's incredible for the blood. It's like fertilizer for the blood. It's incredible for the extracellular fluid because it's bringing everything back online because all of that electrical charge with all of the minerals. And then for the intercellular fluid as well, it's food. So
what is it actually? Like in biology, in nature, what is Shilajit? And is it called Shilajit? If I'm walking by and I see, is it like a black tar stuff on a rock?
That's
No.
it.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right. So what I see in little containers, that's actually it.
That's it.
It's not like, that's not like a process, whatever form. Like people are actually getting this black. So what's the process?
Well, it depends. So sometimes you might find a chunk of Shilajit like you see it in a jar. I've found chunks of Shilajit the size of soccer balls, but that's super rare.
Is it sap?
It's a resin.
From what?
From broken down, decayed plant matter over like thousands or even tens of thousands of years. So it's debatable whether it's like cactus or other plant matter, basically.
Wow.
And because it exists at such high altitude, it takes on like extreme protective qualities because, it exists in like super high, low temperatures, super high pressures. So it builds up all these protective enzymes and compounds to exist. And then when those compounds are, broken down for us and ingested, we take on those protective qualities.
How do you guys source it? What does that look like, gathering the Shilajit from these holy mountains in Tibet?
Yeah, so we only get a small amount of it from Tibet now because that's where we got our original source. And the shaman that we get it from there, he can only produce 300 kilos a year, or he can only get 300 kilos a year. So he's from the royal family of Tibet. But because our business has scaled so much, we employed 600 Indigenous locals in the Himalayas last year. There's only about 2 months of the year you can get it from above 16,000 feet because the rest of the time it's under snow. And they gather it for us. It goes through a purification process. And then we go to the hard work of getting it into those little sachets.
That's really cool. Is there any negative environmental impacts if the whole world starts drinking Shilajit every morning?
Not really. Those mountain ranges is massive. I often say to people, like the mountain range where we get it from in Siberia is equivalent to going from New York to LA and back. And we've tapped into like such a small amount. And even though Shilajit's exploded over the last 3 years, I would say we've tapped into like 0.00001% of the Shilajit on the planet. Like there's so much of it. It's just so hard to get to, and that's why it's so expensive. Yeah.
With minerals, there's a lot of different mineral companies out there and electrolytes. And, you know, it's become, I think, a bit of like a thing in the last little while. What is the best composition or maybe most ideal composition of minerals for the body? Does it just so happen that it is perfectly comprised in the composition of Shilajit? Or like, what do we need for electrolytes, for minerals, for our body to function well?
Yeah, we always say like the salts are really important. So potassium, magnesium, sulfur, calcium, most bodies are starving for those minerals. So it's really high in those. And then all of your trace minerals. So if you're just taking a magnesium supplement or a sulfur supplement, it can throw the body out of balance. The body wants to be in balance always. So you give it all of the minerals. And that's where Shilajit's so powerful, because it has all of the minerals in it. But that's also why we combine it with concentrated ocean plasma, because that has all of the minerals in it from the ocean world.
That's cool.
That we put it through a solar evaporation process for 3 years to condense it and get it as concentrated as we can. It's like a crystalline, if we condensed it anymore, it actually crystallizes and goes hard. So combining the two together is super powerful because you got the best minerals from the ocean.
What does that mean, condense it?
Just concentrate it.
How do you concentrate it?
Solar evaporation. Yeah, so if you take out the mineral concentration.
Oh, I see. Like you're reducing it, like the H2O parts getting out of there, so you just have the minerals left over.
Yeah, so
there's some electron transport chain mechanism, superconductor or something like that. It's just sitting out and evaporating.
That's it. In big pools.
I get it. Yeah.
So like the ocean water's 3,000 parts per million. Our ocean plasma is 400,000 parts per million.
Is that because there's another company, I'm spacing the name of it, but they have, the story with them is they get it from like some particular spot and it's really deep down in the ocean and it's like a very special thing. Is it kind of a similar type thing that you guys are doing?
Is that Quinton?
Yes, Quinton.
Yeah. That's a really great product. It's been around 100 years.
Yeah, they're great. So they got like little glass jugs. You flick the top off.
So they sell two, isotonic and hypertonic. Their hypertonic, which is their concentrated version, is 3,000 parts per million. So again, ours is 400,000 parts per million. So
where do you get it from?
It's about 12 times more powerful. We get it from the ocean as well. We get it from down off Tasmania.
Is it really deep like that? Or is like, what's the story with that? Why you got to go deep?
Just cleaner. Yeah. More pure.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Huh. Why don't they go out to Tasmania, get 400,000 parts?
I don't know where they get theirs from, but
I wouldn't have a clue.
We don't get it 400,000 parts from the sea. We get it the same as them.
Yeah.
3,000 parts. But that 3-year solar evaporation process.
Oh, I understand.
Is so it's removing liquid and allowing magnesium, potassium, sulfur to condense to a point where in our holding tanks, there's crystals growing. And like I said, if you take it, ours is at 400,000 parts per million, but if you took that to 500, that whole pool of minerals would solidify and there's nothing we can do with it.
So you're doing a blend of the ocean water reduced down into, is it 400,000 parts?
Yeah.
And then you have the Shilajit. And what else are you putting in the what is the supplement called? The gold?
Yes, in the gold, we're putting gold nanoparticles.
You're putting gold in the gold.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Why gold?
so gold nanoparticles in a range between 10 and 30 nanometers can pass through the blood-brain barrier. And when they pass through the blood-brain barrier, because of the high frequency of gold and because it's the only substance that can contain all of the light forms from the sun, so it's crystallized light in a metallic form, it goes through to the amygdala, and then gets into the medulla oblongata, which regulates all of the cerebral spinal fluid
And respiration.
and heartbeat and so that actually then gets through to the cellular receptor network and goes back into that cellular charge and voltage again.
How did you get into the gold stuff? Gold's not really a normal supplement. Sometimes you see it like a fancy bar around drinks. You're like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah. And that's a totally different version of gold.
Am I allowed to eat this? Like this feels,
Yeah.
I'm not sure about this.
So edible gold has been something used throughout antiquity by advanced races like the Egyptians. So we received a formula from someone who was the guardian of the Sphinx over 10 years ago. And it was a way to produce alchemical gold from Dead Sea water, from ocean water, and from gold itself. And we've done it all three ways. Initially, the gold was just too expensive. We felt it was too elitist, so we were producing.
It's a little bougie.
It is a little bougie.
Pinky Zap.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a little
Totally.
It's good. I've never heard of that.
Totally. But yeah, now we've been able to make it available just because it's so impactful on the body and the results that it can have, again, for the golden age and genetic liberation. We feel an obligation as stewards for those formulas and that substance that holds light to make it available for humanity.
Have you guys spent time with Indigenous people in Australia?
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
What kind of time?
It'd be like months. It's a profound experience. We
In aggregate or in stints?
in stints, yeah.
Cool.
In stints. I think the big thing that there's an incredible book by a guy called Robert Lawler called The Voices of the First Day. And we took this book and we traveled out to the middle of the country, out to Uluru, which is the solar plexus for the planet. And we did a journey, like a pilgrimage out there. And we ended up in this Indigenous space with a couple of elders out there. And it was very profound, a lot of the experiences that we shared before, but it was almost, there was such a depth and richness to those experiences and a connection back into the country and how they see the planet is completely different. And I always say, like, they're on a different channel and it's something that we can tune into. It's like what you were saying before.
Yeah, it's like the two sources.
Yeah, there's two sources, right? And I feel like there's Indigenous cultures here are the same where they are in Australia and the rest of the world, where they just tuned into a different channel, which is so pure and it's so instant. And I think that's been my biggest takeaway from the whole thing. Whereas, you know, there was one night I was looking at Uluru and I was by myself on this Indigenous land, and one of the elders come up. I didn't even hear him. He come up beside me and broke a lot of broken English and pidgin. It was like, basically, that tree is, you know, my ancestors, and, you know, that rock's my ancestor. Like, we're all related. And if I hurt that, you know, I'm hurting myself. And it was just this like everything's connected and it's like everything's sacred. And that's how they're operating. And they see our channel as a joke. Like, it's actually quite funny, right? It's like,
their channel seems a lot less lonely.
Pardon?
Their channel seems a lot less lonely.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they don't have like ownership when they, you know, I don't know what they do here, but in Australia, they give the Indigenous cultures a lot, you know, and it's almost like they don't have any idea about ownership and they've got no language for it, right? They share everything together. So it's almost like back into that everything's connected, and there's a rites of passage that every man and every woman has got to go through. And the book Voices of the First Day talks about a lot of that rites of passage where they take the young boys. You know, a lot of that's starting to get lost now. for Indigenous cultures, not only in Australia but here for Native Americans as well. They're starting to lose that connection, and a lot of that connection's through story, right? Like that's why podcasting cracks me up, because it's the same thing, right? Everyone's just sharing stories, and it's no fluke that the more information and more stories that are getting told, the more everyone's like, I'm starting to discover this, or I'm going on this rabbit hole to discover this. So I think that's the biggest takeaway for me, spending time with Indigenous cultures.
What are the common rites of passages in Indigenous Australian cultures?
Well, from what I've seen, they take those young boys like when they're ready, like at 7 to 8, and they sort of take them away from their mothers, and it's like you're leaving boyhood and becoming a man. So it's sort of like getting in that men's business and women's business, right? That's whereas a lot of cultures here, or like Western cultures, the mums are attached to the boys for way too long, and you can actually see it. Whereas a lot of the Indigenous cultures, those rites of passages are like 7 to 8, and then you're out, or you get to 10 or 13, and then you're getting that sort of knowledge. And it's like the secret societies when the human or the boy is ready, he's going to get that information. Where it's the opposite for us, is like information just comes flooding in. You can get information from anywhere. Now it's like there's certain rites of passage that you should, or experiences you need to go through, and tests you need to go through to be able to hold that information from a wisdom point of view and experientially. Like some of the information that I've know now is more embodied than just information for knowledge sake. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that is super inspiring for me, and that's some of the things I hold dear to me now, is like, you've actually got to go through rites of passage and a level of suffering to gain that wisdom.
I think a rite of passage, I want to hear more about Aboriginal people, but I think a rite of passage will probably inevitably arise in a person's life, whether they like ask for it or not. Those come in different forms. So it's like, it's like easy decisions now, hard decisions later, hard decisions now, easy decisions later.
Yeah, totally.
So if you have a culture that's set up to create some really hard decisions for you at a younger age, it'll probably open you up. Like the concept of, if you can die before you die, then you can truly live free. Again, paraphrasing whoever says versions of that. But to set somebody up with that as it's just a part of the cultural construct. We're gonna bring this boy. Do girls go through a rite of passage?
I'm not too sure. Definitely the boys do. I didn't really study too much of the.
I wonder what they do with the girls.
They would have to have their own version of it, probably linked in with when they start to menstruate or something like that. I would suggest.
What else how are the Indigenous and Aboriginal, are those interchangeable? Is one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How are they doing in Australia as a whole? Are they untouched? Are they doing well? Are they cared for? Is it like an artificial kind of world that they're living in? Is it, what's that like?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think the best people to ask that is Indigenous people.
Yeah. I
think it's as a white Western man, it's like you can have a certain viewing platform. I feel very privileged that, I've been born a certain way. It's I think I can only speak about from my viewing platform and my experience. And I've got a lot of friends that are in those spaces a lot more intimately that could answer those questions better, I think. But from where culture, it's mixed up with politics, it's mixed up with, the left-leaning views, the right-leaning views. And I think just what I can see from my personal opinion is I think they just need their own set of endorsements to their own culture and to put that on show, where it's like they call this thing called Welcome to Country now, they do before every event. And it's getting politicized massively in the country, where it's, they call it a Welcome to Country, right? And there's so many different cultures, like there's something like 260 different communities of Aboriginals with over 460 different languages in different tones and tongues, and how they used to pass through they call them song lines, right? So they'd pass through different areas, and you'd have to pick up a song line of your own song line, and then get permission to go into the next area and learn their song lines and keep moving through. So that's how they travel.
Is there a desire to be a more westernized culture in your guys' experience? Or are they like, we don't want no cell phones, they have cell phones?
Yeah. It's exactly, it's very modernized. Like it's like every other Western culture. But what I can see is like a tradition. There's still a lot of that traditional owners. They call them traditional owners. And with the government, they, lease back, say, Uluru or Kurajuda and those areas there that are leased back to the government. So but they've got all this money, and then there's infighting and with different families or different communities. So it then gets politicized, but it's a very deep rabbit hole that I can see. And I think it's like the source of anything is at its purest. So getting to people that are actually living in that way, and there's certain communities that, you probably wouldn't go down, right, as a white man. And the youth culture over there is like, there's a place called Alice Springs where, they lose a lot of that culture and that rites of passage, and, it's just mayhem. It's absolute mayhem. So there's a place, as I said, Alice Springs, where, you wouldn't want to be out at dark.
Yeah, right.
Because crime's huge, and it's just back to culture, and it's the same with our culture, right? When there's youth that don't have purpose or don't have mission, they're left to their own devices, and there's not a huge leaning male culture or uncles and brothers and all that supporting you and giving you that support and love and guidance. And that's how I sort of see it in Australia.
What can Western people do to be supportive to Indigenous people in the world in general, and like the energies of that and the history of that, and like how important do you believe it is to maintain Indigenous culture in the modern world?
Compassion, not in a like feel sorry way, but just a deep compassion that there's a culture that's over 60,000 years old, and we're living on the coast of that. Majority, like 80% of the country lives on the coast of Australia, right? And, there's a lot in the middle of the country that we've got no understanding, and I had no idea until I started going out there, and the respect and the way that another culture that we're living in a country of, it's just a crazy concept to me that we're got no understanding, but we're passing judgment on. It's like until we have that experience, it comes back to that thing again about unless you've had that experience or lived in or walked in those shoes, you can't pass judgment.
Yeah. And
I just keep coming back to anyone like, I've got no idea how you've lived your life or what past traumas you've had, or I can't judge you. Just compassion for who you are and what you bring to the presence now, and that's all we've got. And some of the most beautiful experience was just being in that moment of presence. Like,
well, the clever thing is if you have compassion for other people, it's like very selfish. You're just developing compassion for yourself.
Yeah.
Well,
you put yourself off the hook, right?
Yeah.
Because we're our own worst critics, right? You're like, the way that you talk to yourself is you wouldn't talk to your friends the way you talk to yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
Just catching yourself and where that comes from. And so those are the things. It's just compassion in general, like, and everyone's got their own experience, and especially in Australia, like everyone's had their own different experience. And my experience is unique to me and how I see it and how I experienced it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that just goes for me now. It's just complete compassion and not to have any judgment on if this is right or that's wrong in that space, because it's so nuanced, right? You've got a DNA that's over 60,000, 100,000 years old, trying to go into this sort of pigeonhole. Like, that's to me complete madness, right?
Brad and I have been super fortunate that we've got heaps of Indigenous friends, especially from playing sport.
Yeah.
They're incredible at sport. They're so skillful.
I bet.
And they're such beautiful people. Like that's always been my experience with the Indigenous or the Aboriginal Australians. They live from the heart space. They're super connected. To Brad's point, they're not in ego. They don't want ownership. They don't want to evolve into anything. They're just living in the moment. And we're super fortunate out at Uluru because we actually stayed with Cassidy Uluru, who the government gave back. They used to call it Ayers Rock, but Uluru is its Indigenous name. So they gave that rock, which is the most sacred space in Australia, back to Cassidy. And we stayed with him. And I think the greatest thing you can do from my point of view, as well as compassion, is respect for their wisdom. And that's what a lot of Westerners, they just overlook it because their dream time sounds way too esoteric or too unrelatable to our Western mind that's like after progress and success and more and ownership.
There's like a weird, I think, shame or guilt of not having a very defined vision for yourself. What's your 2-year plan? What's your 5-year plan? What's your if you're really like wealthy, you're thinking about generational wealth. So what's like your 55-year plan? You know, there's like it just keeps on extending out.
Yeah.
You know, the more resources you accrue and the more materials you accrue and the more like stuff, the more you win the Western game, it just keeps going into infinity. And then you're like, okay, well now we got to start exploring like political power. And now we're thinking globally, like what's the global plan? And you're like, I don't know that leads to happiness. I don't know if happiness is the goal.
No, I don't think happiness is the goal. Well, I just see that one is mind, right? And one is dreaming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everything's a mental construct, and it's beautiful and it's great to play in that space, but not to be attached to it. I think that's the lessons that I've learned along the journey is like the moment I start to get attached to something or attached to the business or attached to the physical vessel or whatever, like that's when suffering just keeps going deeper and deeper. The more I just go, well, it is what it is and it's going to be what it's going to be. There's so much freedom in that. But like to your point, it's like, oh, what am I doing? Oh, is crypto going to pump or is the business going to 20x or like it's just easy to get into that trap.
Yeah. And if it does, then you're a winner and you're great.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, then you suck and fuck your life.
Yeah.
You know, what am I doing? I'm a loser.
Yeah.
So you're always at the whim of the periphery. Like you're never in control. And if you are never in control, you'll always have a subtle subconscious sensation of contraction and resistance and fear because you know you're not actually in control of your own destiny because you are attached to the outcome.
Yeah.
And the outcome's based on other people's business and other people's happenings. And, you know, even like, who knows, like what's going to happen to your health or to anything.
Yeah, it was a wild concept. We were talking about it the other day and we were just laughing. We have these moments where it's just laughter. It's like even just being born, right? Like that whole concept, like
it's totally weird.
It's totally weird because you're just going, like, where did I come from? Like from a pure, so let's say we come from pure consciousness.
Why do I take myself so seriously?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I don't
like,
know what the fuck's going on here.
That's suffering. I reckon suffering. Suffering starts as soon as we're born. Like we're muddled up the pursuit, what's that pursuit of happiness? Like I don't believe happiness is the goal because
that's a trap.
Because as soon as we're born, it's suffering.
Well, even in baked in the language, you're already destined for anxiety because you're in the pursuit.
Yeah.
So baked into the language is a game it's a never-ending game. So you will always be in the pursuit. As long as you are in the pursuit of anything, your OS, your operating system, is to pursue.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Just be aware of what your operating system looks like. It's totally fine. There's not a right or wrong or operating system. But if you're in the pursuit operating system, that's just who you are until you change up your OS.
Yeah, and I feel like 99%
I think
99% of the time, say in business or in that pursuit of something, you're eating shit 99% of the time. It's like 1% of the time where you sit down and have these conversations and you open up this beautiful space and it's just incredible and it's flowing and then you go, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing this. You know, and you get those hits and then you reflect on the experiences that we're talking about. You go, oh yeah, 99.9% of people will never do that. And it's quite profound, but you forget about that and you forget about all the wins, you forget about all the losses. And that's all you just got to keep going is like, okay, I'm just going to eat another shit sandwich tomorrow. And potentially I'll get a podcast of Aaron at lunchtime. Like it's just wild.
Yeah. I led a class, like a breathing nervous system thing class yesterday at this conference. That's why we're here in Austin right now. So I was here for that. And in the middle of the class, or at the end of the class, we were sitting down and we did some breathing stuff and extending our exhalations and talking about philosophical things. And then someone's ringer went off, like the loudest, most like ugliest version of a ringer possible. And it was perfect because like immediately in that moment, it matched exactly perfectly with what we were talking of, like, amazing, like how beautiful, like this opportunity to have this ringer. And now we can start to kind of unpack, like, how did this ringer affect your physiology? And you have a response, and you have all of these different stories. Every person in the room simultaneously has a whole cornucopia of potential stories that arise based off of their past and their history and all that stuff about what the meaning of that ringer is.
That's cool.
And it's so if you can adapt that perspective of, another ring, oh, an injury. Perfect. What does this mean?
Yeah.
Or, like I got a ticket on my car. Like, what is it like this feeling that I experienced? What is that like? Oh, she broke up with me. Oh, she wants to get back with me. Oh, she broke up with me again. All of it's just like, it's just like another ringer in the middle of your class. And if you can adapt that perspective of just curiosity, I think curiosity is a very powerful tool. In something, whatever shit sandwich arises, if you can really leverage the muscle of curiosity as like, that's like your default tool, I feel like there's some type of like buffering or, advantage to that as a person.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Just being human, like when you're talking there, I just go, it's just a wild concept that you're in a room full of people and everyone's got an individual experience that they've had. And they're either through their DNA or through their trauma or their life, they're going to react to that same ringtone completely different. It's just wild. Like how we actually get on as a society, it just boggles my mind. That's why I feel like you've got to find a camp. Is it right? Is it left leaning? Are you right leaning? And that's why community and tribe is so important, because like I feel like we're held better in those moments, like you're doing. It's almost like the chief's up there, or the doctor's sitting there, or the medicine man sitting there going, okay, well, how does that reflect on you and your experience? Because you could be seeing it one way, I could be seeing it completely different, going, I was in such a blissful state, attached to the blissful state, and you're like, no, this is beautiful. Like this is another opportunity. And I'm going, no, I want to go back there because that I'm addicted to that feeling.
Yeah.
And that's this whole wellness, spiritual space. Like it's dangerous because you can get addicted to those highs, and they're high. Like they're completely off channel.
It's just like being resilient is really cool. Like resiliency is sexy. Big fan.
Yeah.
And like having like mental, emotional, the stories that you have about who you think you are and your thoughts about the world and what team you think you're on or not on or any of that, truly being able to be in a place where you are navigating all of those stories with the least amount of attachment, but also very high engagement. I feel like that's kind of like the balance. So completely unattached, but I'm like right here in the game, like loving the game, but unattached to the board. Feel like that's like if you can be in that position, but it's hard because the longer that you're on the board, the more you start to believe that the board is all there is, and if I don't land on Boardwalk, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to maintain this hot girl in Miami or, whatever stories you have in Miami. So there's like a much more pressure on resources there. So I can like feel it a little bit, and there's like, a lot more of the influence of the place that I am at informs the way that I feel a little bit, and also informs by changing the location up, you can almost be able to see your belief systems from a different vantage point. If you go into a new belief system, you get to see your old belief systems, because your old belief systems, it just was what you were. Now you go into a new game and you're like, oh, interesting. It seems like this is the only game, but because it came from another game, I can see this is another game. And then you can go to another place and you're like, oh my God, what I thought was so important there, totally not important in Austin. And so every time you get to do that, you get to kind of like, I think, release the attachment to the things that you think are so important. And eventually you probably come back to the things that like, what are the things that perpetually maintain important for you guys? What are the things that stay important, or like the foundational things that don't change no matter what game you're playing? As a question.
Yeah, for me, it's exactly what you said. It's like being unattached to any outcome, but giving everything that you do 100% and being as present as you can and being as focused as you can and just doing the best you can. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that intention and attention. It's more or less what you're saying, right? Like the intensity and the obsession that, like I'm super obsessed with things. Like when I get into something, I go like down a rabbit hole. So my opportunity when I do that is to like not let everything else go, but be in that sort of harmony space of like not attached, but be in it. And I think that's the skill that I'm learning. And I feel like coming back to, like if we lose everything, we talk about this often, if mana goes and, you know, our lifestyle goes, I've still got, and I know Dave's exactly the same. Like we went so deep down a rabbit hole that I know he's going to be okay and I'm going to be okay regardless of whatever happens. So there's such a peace knowing that. And that's the biggest thing for me. And that gives you no like attachment to an outcome.
Yeah.
Like the outcome is, well, we're going to be okay anyway.
I think sometimes in conversations like this, something that I can experience is a feeling of like, it's almost like a divorcing of, you know, the Western perspective of modernity, or like a romanticizing of like anything else. But I think that it is really important to learn the game that of the board that you're on. And in order to be able to access sensations of safety and to allow your nervous system to be able to rest and digest and repair, and you can make, you know, decisions with more clarity, it is very helpful to know that, you know, my business is in order, my finances are in order, and my relationships are in order, and my health is in order. And a part of that is like, you need to be interested in learning how to play the game. So I think there can be an interesting, and this is what you see with a lot of like the bullshittery and like the spiritual movement, where it's a lot of people that are, you know, I'm spiritual and, you know, oh my God, you're in all this, you're like obsessed with your work or your business or money or, you know, your clothing or car or whatever. A lot of times I think there's actually a lot of like anger in that, and a little bit of resentment, because they feel like I don't know how to play that game, even though I actually desire to play the game well. So I think a lot 100%. Of like the freedom for a person, and I think this is like a really like an integrated modern man is able to actually play the game well, which I think just means they're able to create safety with themselves. Like they're able to come home every night and they can fall asleep, you know, in a handful of minutes, and they can get like a full exhalation, you know, and they can like be present with a kid or a woman or a dog or another human being, and their mind's not scattered, because they've played the game well enough that they've been able to organize the different sectors of themselves so that they actually have the spaciousness within them, their mind and their hearts, to be able to actually be present. But if you know there's shit you have to do, like you can try to spiritually transcend or whatever, but eventually you have to come back to the shit that you have to do, because the reality is you're on this fucking board.
It's really well said. No, it's really well said. And we talk about it all the time, but like abundance, from my perspective, the intelligence behind life wants us to be abundant in all areas.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if we're just abundant in like feeling free from spirituality,
oftentimes it's a bypass.
But we don't feel safe because we haven't got a roof over our head, or we're not sure how we're going to pay for things in 6 or 12 months' time.
Yeah.
That's not abundance.
Yeah.
Like that's not true freedom.
Yeah.
Staying in the flow and renouncing everything and traveling around, which we did extensively, there is a beautiful freedom to that. But also, you know, being able to have a family and being able to master and provide all of those different segments of life, they're all a spiritual experience. Like we often say, the greatest spiritual experience you can go on is to start a business.
Sure.
Because you're going to understand yourself. So, or become a father or be responsible for a family.
Just be responsible for freaking anything.
Yeah.
Get a hamster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the beginning of like, this is pretty spiritual.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
something that's depending on me not being a total asshole.
Yeah.
You know?
So yeah, I think looking at things holistically and being able to take it all on, that's the greatest opportunity. Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, I love the Mana, the Shilajit. I literally take it every morning. I genuinely feel, I like it because it makes me actually feel well, which is great.
Yeah, nice.
And so I think it's one of the things that I consider like I had, it was actually from another company. They gave me this like squirt bottle stuff. I don't remember what the name was, but somebody gave it to me. It was like a Shilajit thing at the conference. And I was like squirting it in people's mouths because I'm like, take this, like it'll make you feel good. And so
good.
Yeah, so I take the sachet packets literally every morning. It's actually something I really look forward to because I feel a change, which is exciting. So I'm like, I don't know what it's doing exactly, but it's doing something. I can actually feel it. Is there anything else? So thank you for putting so much time and care and energy into what seems to be everything you do, or at least like the Mana products. Is there anything else to where can we lead people from here? Where can people go from here? What's the best direction from this point?
Yeah, I guess something we talk about every day is like focus on getting that sunlight, getting the best water you can, and just charging up the body so that you can have a greater and more aligned experience here on earth, because there is so much drama and suffering and all of these other things that kind of hold us back. But there's also a beautiful life to live, and just focusing, creating the time, the efficiencies in your life so you can focus on the glass half full experience is really the opportunity. So that would be like my wish for us and humanity, is to get into that space where life is great and we understand the truth of who we are and we can live life from that space. Yeah.
Where do people go to get some Mana stuff? Try the Shilajit.
So manavitality.com. Mana spelt with a double N, so MANNA vitality.com. Everything's on there.
Mana means, it's spelled differently, but Mana means power in Hawaiian.
Yes.
Mana.
Yeah, the double N is a Hebrew word that means
different
supernatural food.
Also good.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We probably have a discount code. It's probably a line. I don't know. Do you guys know if we have a discount code?
Yeah,
or what
it's
it is?
a line.
Okay, good.
A line, yeah.
All right, perfect. Thank you guys so much. This was really fun. I swear to God, throughout this, I mean, it's probably just your guys' accents, but I felt like there was a mother freaking fire right here. And we were sitting around a fire talking about what you talk about around a fire in Australia.
Men's business, right? That's what they do. Men's business.
I know. That's the way it felt.
Our favourite thing's fire.
Yeah,
There's a bit of sun gazing there.
Yeah, and that's a lot of my fire signs and stuff like that. So yeah, it's interesting you picking that up.
Was it as good for you guys as it was for me?
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for having us on, bro. It's been fucking awesome.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you all for tuning in. That's it. That's all. See you next week. Bye.